Okay, so this is fireside chats for hosted by NextGen Cyber Club. So it's we will talk about cybersecurity, any cybersecurity related topics, and by inviting guest speakers from various the speakers from companies, from universities or research labs. So this is our second fireside chat. Um, okay, so Molly, can you introduce our club?
I can do it. I can volunteer.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so our NextGen Cyber Club is a 501c3 nonprofit organization created by a group of high school students from the East Bay area passionate about cybersecurity. So currently we have 4 founding members, which would be me. I go to Doherty Valley High School. Molly, who also goes to Doherty Valley, she's a year younger than me. We have Max, who goes to Corey Lane, and then we have Nicole, who goes to Monte Vista. So that's our current kind of leadership group. And so our mission is to inspire and empower the next generation of cybersecurity leaders by building technical skills, promoting ethical digital citizenship, and educating our community on safe and responsible technology use. And we'll do this through hands-on learning, collaboration, and outreach. And our end goal is to create a safer digital world for everyone. So that's kind of like the gist of our club. We also do competitions like CyberPatriot, and we also host and organize events.
All right, thank you. The next page. Okay, so what is fireside chats? And it's actually informal, structured interview between a moderator and a guest. So the term was coined by U.S. President Roosevelt in the 1930s to describe his informal national radio addresses. So basically, we take this form because we don't want our guest speakers spend a lot of time to prepare slides to give like a formal presentation. So I think it's good to have an informal conversation so that both the guests can feel comfortable to talk about about the topics for cybersecurity, and also they don't need to spend a lot of time to present to prepare. So so our wait, what happened? Yeah, sorry about that. I think my mouse. Yeah. So our guest speaker is April Xie. She is actually a CyberPatriot alumna, a competitor, a previous competitor for session 7th, 8th, and 9th. So she is a MIT EECS graduate. She got her bachelor degree. I don't remember. I checked your actually LinkedIn profile. It's like when did you graduate? It's like
Yeah, it was in 2021, and I
2021.
graduated with a degree in computer science. Yeah.
Yeah. So and then you joined Google, right, as a software engineer.
Yeah.
And then I when I looked at your LinkedIn profile, I was so impressed because there are lots of research experience and lots of past internships, and okay, I have actually lots of questions for you. So
Okay. Yeah. No problem.
yeah. So first, can you talk about what is CyberPatriot?
Sure. Yeah, so I guess for anyone who's not familiar, CyberPatriot is a national cybersecurity competition, and there's both like middle school and high school divisions, and I believe it's sponsored or organized by the Air Force Association. So it is like kind of linked to government interests to teach the next generation how to be like cybersecurity professionals. And it's been a while since I did the competition, so I don't know if it's changed anyway, but at least when I did it, it was like team-based. We had, I believe, like 5 members on each team, and the way that my team decided to kind of like specialize was have 2 Linux experts, 2 Windows experts, and 1 like networking expert, since the competition is split between basically like finding vulnerabilities in both like a Windows system and a Linux system, and then as well as like a networking kind of exam. Yeah, and then there's like rounds from like regional to national. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's still the pattern is still the same, because we did the competition last year and also the year before last year. So still you can have like 5 members per team, but you can have up to 6. But you can only have 5 members to compete at the same time. So it's like you have backup. 1 backup member in the team, just like the soccer team. So okay, so in addition to that, is there any other events? Because for us, from the CyberPatriot website, you can see that in addition to the competition, they also actually promote the community service. Opportunities, like for example, the to provide education for the senior people, and also to educate like after school or middle school students about how to protecting themselves from the cyber attacks. So okay, second question, how did you know CyberPatriot competition in the first place?
Yeah, so actually my CyberPatriot coach was one of my old coaches from Science Olympiad, and he worked at Northrop Grumman, so I guess that's how he heard about the competition, and he wanted to form like a program at my high school. So he asked me if I wanted to join CyberPatriot, and I thought at the time like I was interested in computer science and like kind of just like information technology in general. So I said yes, pretty much. Yeah.
I see. Okay, so yeah, from the CyberPatriot website, we can actually look. We can find out where is the location of the competition teams for the past sessions, and there are lots of teams in Los Angeles areas, and I was kind of confused, because for Bay Area it's much less, much fewer team, competition team. Most of them are for military service members, kids school. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
so okay, so how did you build the team and prepare the CyberPatriot? This is actually a pretty big question. So yes, first you need a team, right? And then to prepare the competition, because you mentioned there are like 2 Windows, two members for Windows and 2 members for Linux, right? So, and also for based on our past experience, they're like the first round is like round 1, round 2, and then state round. And how did you prepare for the competition?
Yeah, so I think like there was definitely some trial and error. My first year was like the first year my school ever did it. So we kind of just like whoever wanted to join the club, we kind of studied together. The coach that I mentioned, he basically would like reserve a conference room at like the local Northrop Grumman office, and we would do like classes there every week, and he would basically teach us all the like cybersecurity concepts, from networking to like finding certain vulnerabilities. And then from there, I think like naturally we figured out who was more interested in what subjects and kind of split the teams that way. And then I think after a couple more years of experience, we kind of knew how the competitions went. I think it became much more competitive like at our school. So we actually had like auditions to join CyberPatriot. I don't know if you guys are at that point, but one way we prepared too was we had like students volunteer to basically prepare their own virtual image with like vulnerabilities in it and have students do that as practice. Like everyone else try to find the vulnerabilities. I think that was actually really helpful because one, you yourself have to do research into like how can I make the system insecure? Like what are ways I can introduce vulnerabilities? And then for the other people, like it's also like good practice to simulate the like actual competition scenario.
I see, I see. So, but I think at that time, did you guys also have this? I mean, did Air Force release this training round image so that you can?
Oh yeah, we had those too. So I think that also helped us identify what kind of vulnerabilities they might introduce. We kept a binder of like all the previous vulnerabilities we had, like they had scored, just as kind of like a reference because a lot of times they'll do the same thing again, but maybe just like slightly differently. And then I think when we got to be a little more like experienced and sophisticated, we actually created like scripts to just automatically like check for certain things. And that usually helped find like maybe half the vulnerabilities pretty much like right away. Yeah.
That can save a lot of time. So, and also, how much time did you spend? Like, I guess you guys need to, meet regularly, right? To study, to practice, and what is the meeting frequency and how much time you spend on this CyberPatriot activities?
Yeah, we met like once a week, every Sunday pretty much, and we would do like 4-hour sessions. I don't think that's necessary, but that was just like what our coach preferred. I think he thought there was a lot to like cover, so we would have maybe like a couple hours of presentations on like different cybersecurity topics, and then we would spend the rest of the time just like working on the practice images that other students prepared, I guess.
So I guess you guys really have a good coach or mentor, and but in addition to that, because I mean, based on our past competition, I found lots of although the questions in the the competition is like they're lots of them has kind of a pattern, right? So if you did it and you find the solution, then it will be similar questions in the future. But did you spend time to learn the underlying fundamental knowledge related to these questions? For example, for Windows, there are some questions related to the user management and also for the complexity. And did you learn such for example the basic knowledge of cryptography related to that?
I think we did have presentations on it. Like we probably didn't go super deep into everything just because there's like a lot of breadth, I guess, in the entire operating system in general. But we did have like presentations every week on, like for example, why password management is important, or
so who presents? Is a team member or the mentor?
We did both. Some were prepared by the coach, and then sometimes he asked us to like prepare a topic. to teach everyone else.
Okay. Okay. My next question. So, what is the most challenge and or memorable moment during your whole cyber competition, events?
Yeah, I think definitely the most challenging thing is staying focused for the whole time. Like the competition, I think the first maybe like 80% of vulnerabilities you find relatively quickly, and it's like the last 20% that you spend the rest of the time really like going crazy over a little bit, because you've already exhausted pretty much what you know, and so then you're just kind of like trying to think outside the box of what you might be missing. I think learning, for example, like delegation among your team is really important. And also preparing, just like trying to be as prepared as possible. We had, maybe like the strategy is different now, but back then we had like binders with like a bunch of pages of kind of a catalog of like vulnerabilities or like things that might be vulnerabilities. And we would be like searching through these checklists, trying to see if we missed anything. And sometimes it was more helpful to try to like switch off between team members because someone else might have like tried something that you didn't try. So I think knowing how to prepare, and then also trying to in the time like know how to make a decision of when you should switch off or like when you should try a different approach. I feel like that was the most challenging thing.
I see. Yeah, we had actually the similar impression for our past competitions. It's like you spend like the first 20% time to resolve the 80% problems, and then you are stuck there. And our team members, some team members, they will just go outside, play basketball on the court, and then come back. So okay. Next question. So did your team get into semifinal or final? Because
Yeah, actually the last year, so CyberPatriot 9, my team made it to the finals, which was pretty exciting. We didn't like place, I guess, or win the finals, but I think just making it there was like a big accomplishment for us. And I think it was definitely due to like learning from the past few competitions and kind of like refining our checklist every year to make it that far.
So the final, if I remember correctly, the final competition is in DC, right? And they will provide free flight tickets and maybe the hotel reservation.
When I did it, it was in Baltimore, which is pretty close. I don't remember. I don't know if they paid for our like airfare and hotel since I wasn't like, I guess, thinking about that. But yeah, it is like you travel for it, and I assume maybe they give you some subsidy. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So what is the difference? I mean, I know it's in-person competition, right? For the final, and what is the difference between the final competition compared with the previous rounds, like the semifinal and the normal first 3 rounds competition? I remember they mentioned you cannot take any electric devices there, right?
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, they had the setup already like there for you, and you basically went and worked on like the competition itself is very similar to the previous rounds, but I think you were using the systems that they provided.
So do you have access to the internet in the final competition
Um,
on that setup?
Actually, I don't really remember, to be honest.
I
Yeah, I think you would probably have to check the rule book on that. But I do remember like it definitely feels different because you're in an unfamiliar environment using like unfamiliar devices, I guess. And I think like there were a couple times where we were running into like technical difficulties, and that's something that is also very stressful.
Yeah, the it's still it is images inside of VMware virtual machine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then it's similar. So because based on the rule, they didn't mention you cannot use Google search engine or even the AI chatbot. So I'm wondering whether we can use that during the.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would assume they probably wouldn't then, because they wouldn't want you to just have AI doing it or something like that.
Okay. Okay. My next question. Okay. I actually based on my checking on your LinkedIn profile, it seems you got the cybersecurity internship at Northrop Grumman during high school. That's pretty impressive, right? So, and you spent 3 years there. So how did you get that intern opportunity?
Yeah, so actually, at least like back then, Northrop Grumman, they had a couple internship positions specifically for CyberPatriot like participants.
Ah, I
So
see.
yeah, and because like my mentor was someone who also worked at Northrop Grumman, he like knew about it, so he encouraged me to apply. And yeah, I applied. They invited me for an interview. The interview was like not like a technical interview, I would say. It was more just like they asked me some standard interview, like behavioral interview questions.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess like it was good enough. So that's how I got the internship. And then the actual internship itself, it wasn't like a software engineering internship. It was definitely more of like a security oriented internship.
Mm-hmm.
I worked on this like basically like a radio payload that they put in the airplanes that fly overhead so that the ground troops can like communicate with each other across long distances. And I worked on making sure that all the software that was used in that radio was like up to the security standards.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say it definitely wasn't like a science software engineering internship, but it was still valuable, kind of like professional.
It's tightly related to the security.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those, if you don't know what is Northrop Grumman, the company, okay, some famous products from Northrop Grumman are B-2 stealthy bomber and F-14 Tomcat fighter jet and Apollo lunar module. And I think the latest one, famous one, is James Webb Space Telescope. Okay, just let you know that what the company is. Okay. Yeah. So how did you feel? What did it feel like as a high school student, to do the intern at the Northrop Grumman?
Yeah, I think at first it was definitely like maybe a little bit intimidating, especially because I think Northrop Grumman is a little more traditional of a company than, let's say, like Google, where they're a little more laid back. So I think it was definitely a good experience learning what it's like to work in a corporate environment and how to maintain like professional relationships. And I think since you're just a high school student, like they don't really expect you to deliver important work. That's not the point. I think it's more like they want, they also want you to be interested in working at Northrop or like being invested in cybersecurity. So I think what I learned is like it's important to show initiative. It's people want you to ask a lot of questions and just like showing professionalism. So that means like, going to work on time, attending meetings, like being very proactive with communicating with your manager, things like that.
Yeah, I think this program for this provide internship opportunity for CyberPatriot participants is they want to attract more students to getting to the security field. Okay. Besides CyberPatriot, any other ECs, extracurriculum activities you did during high school? I mean, so you mentioned your CyberPatriot mentor actually was your mentor for Olympiad competition, right?
Yeah, I did. I was very involved in Science Olympiad when I was in high school. I actually was like the president of our Science Olympiad club when I was a senior. And that was something I did since middle school. So I don't know, I really liked it. I feel like it was like, even though it wasn't like maybe a super prestigious competition, it was something that I really enjoyed. And then in addition to that, I would say I was like a very well-rounded high school student. So I did actually varsity cross country and track and field. That was something I did for all 4 years of high school. I was involved in, I'm trying to remember, like the National Honor Society. I think that's like a service oriented club. I played piano, so that was something I did through high school as well. And then I also, in terms of like more STEM related things, I did the computing Olympiad. I started, I think, like my sophomore or junior year. And I think that also helped me kind of like realize that I enjoyed computer science, just trying to like solve these sort of very like they're similar to the types of questions you might see in like a computer science course or technical interview situations. Yeah.
So you mentioned computer Olympiad. Did you mean the USACO?
Yeah.
I see. So USACO is a competition. Kind of you solve the computer algorithms questions.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Forgot to mention. So for all the audience, all the students, you are listening. So if you have questions, just throw your questions to the this meeting chat, and we will answer at the end of the talk. So one more question. So high school life is busy. I can understand that, and students will have peer pressure, will have pressure from parents, even pressure from themselves. So how did you balance your study, your ECs, and your life, and to have kind of inner peace and
Yeah, for sure. I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with, and like, it wasn't always easy for me too. I think one maybe the most important thing was I genuinely was motivated to do all the things I was doing, and for the most part, I liked, all the classes that I took and the extracurriculars I did. It wasn't something that like my parents were forcing me to do. So I think that definitely helped a lot in terms of like my mental health. Um, and I think also just knowing what your own limits are, like I feel like there's always going to be someone who you think is like more impressive than you and does like way more stuff than you, and that's okay because you don't have to like be the best or do like take more AP classes than someone else like to do well in the future. So yeah, I think just like I liked to challenge myself, but I also wasn't someone who tried to like push myself too hard, I think. So I think that also helps.
Yeah, I understand. So nobody is perfect. I think yeah, very good suggestion. So so you mentioned AP. How many APs did you take?
I took 14 APs, I think,
I
in
see.
high school. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I know it like varies across schools, and we were like a trimester system. I know some people are like on quarter systems and take more, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So after high school, you went to MIT. So I actually when I saw your bachelor degree. It's computer science and engineering. And I was wondering, your department is EECS. So I just went to the website of EECS department. There are a bunch of different degrees. Can you briefly talk about what's the difference between these courses?
Yeah, for sure. So like MIT is a little, I think, unique and also sometimes confusing in terms of all the majors are numbers. So like my major was 6-3, computer science and engineering, and 6 was the number for the overall like electrical engineering and computer science department. So all the majors that start with 6 are like under that department.
Mhm.
And then the second number is more like the specific, what you're specifically majoring in. So yeah, I did 6-3, which is kind of just like a standard computer science degree. You take like all the fundamental computer science classes, which the big ones I would say are like data or algorithms and data structures,
Mhm.
and then like fundamentals of programming.
And
And
working
yeah,
database, right?
yeah, it's definitely more like software coding oriented. And 6-4, so these, since I graduated, they actually made some new majors
I
because of
see.
how prevalent AI has become. But like 6-4 is like 6-3, but with more AI focus. So you take more classes that are about like AI. And 6-5, I think, is pretty much more like pure electrical engineering. So there's more focus on electrical engineering. 6-7, 7 is like the biology department, so it's kind of like doing a dual CS and biology degree.
Mhm.
And then 6-9 is like the cognitive science, neuroscience department, so that's kind of doing like more of a dual CS and cog sci degree. And then 11, so course 11 is the number for the urban science and planning
I see.
department.
I see.
Yeah, so 11-6 is more like doing urban planning with coding, I guess. And really, the only difference between all of these is what classes you're required to take to
I
graduate
see.
with
I
that
see.
degree.
So I think 6-7, maybe 6-9, 11-6, 6-14. These are the kind of cross department program.
Yeah, exactly. So you take classes in like both departments. I would say when I was a student, 6-3 was by far the most popular major. Now, I don't know if that's still true. Like maybe more people are doing 6-4 now because
Right. It's
everyone's using AI.
so popular. Okay, so what is this is master engineering
Oh
program.
yeah, so it's basically a way for you to get a master's degree in only like 1 year after your undergrad versus 2. So if you want to get a master's degree, it's like a pretty good deal, I would say.
Yeah, so it's like you have you take more advanced maybe graduate courses, and then with only one additional year, you get both bachelor and master degrees. So,
Mhm.
um, is there any? I know some master degrees requires theses. Um,
Yeah, I don't think I
but
think it depends on which exact major you're doing. I think for 6-3 you don't need a thesis.
okay. Anyway, I think if students are interested, you can check the website and figure it out. Okay. Next one. All right. So I went to Boston one time many years ago for job interview. So I have no idea, where is MIT, or so I search on Google Map, and it seems the Google Cambridge office is right beside MIT, right?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, it's literally right next to
it's
campus.
pretty convenient for MIT students to do an internship at Google, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I actually know a good number of MIT alumni who work in that office.
Okay, so yeah, how's the life in Boston? How's the weather? And well, I think you grow up in California, right? So what's the difference about the weather?
Yeah, I'm originally from San Diego, so going to Boston's definitely like a very big change, I would say. You get like real seasons. I will say winter in Boston is pretty long. Like it's pretty cold from November to like April, but it doesn't snow as much as you would think. So like it's more just it's really cold for like half the year. But then the other half of the year I feel like is really nice. Like I really like fall. Fall is my favorite season. I think you don't really get true fall in California.
Mhm.
And yeah, and spring and summer are like summer can be pretty humid, but otherwise it's nice.
Okay. How's the campus life there at MIT? Like, how's the dormitory? How's the food, or you know the courses there?
Yeah, I think MIT is definitely a very rigorous place to go. Like I would say it's probably some in terms of like course rigor, I would say it's similar probably to like Berkeley. But what's nice is it's not super big, so you kind of can get more like help from TAs or like your
I see.
professor.
They have more
Yeah, I
responsibility.
feel like it's actually a very also everyone is like willing to help each other, at least when I was there. I feel like it's more of a collaborative environment than competitive environment. Because like since the classes are pretty difficult, like everyone tries to help each other with the problem sets
Mhm.
and studying.
Mhm. Yeah, I think we probably most of the people have the impression or assume all the students at MIT is very smart students, and they probably don't have difficulty to tackle the courses. But I think that's probably not true. I mean,
Yeah, no, like unless you're truly like really, really smart, I feel like most people find the classes hard.
I see. So how's the job research opportunities in Boston area? I know there are like three famous university college there: MIT, Boston, and the Northeastern. So how's is there any besides Google? There should be other famous companies there, and also the lab, right?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the big tech companies have offices in Boston. They're just not like really big. Like Meta has like a small office in Cambridge. Microsoft has an office, and Apple used to have an office. I don't know if they do anymore.
Mhm.
Um, I think, yeah, in terms of tech companies, those are probably the biggest ones. There are actually a lot of startups in Boston too. I think like especially out of the university environment, there's definitely not as many companies as the Bay Area, like Silicon Valley, but I think there's still a good number of like tech jobs.
Yeah. So are those? I mean, is Cambridge the uh similar to like Silicon Valley in Bay Area? Does Cambridge have host those companies?
Um, it has some of them, like as I mentioned, the like Microsoft, Google, um, Facebook or Meta, and I think like IBM has an office somewhere, although IBM's kind of like old these days, I guess. But
Mhm.
there's an Oracle office, not in Boston, but like in Massachusetts, not too far as well.
I see. Okay. So how's your? Okay, I know you have been working at Google for almost 5 years, right? So how did you feel? How are you feeling the Google working experience?
Yeah, I really like working at Google, to be honest. I think the main reasons are like definitely the the company reputation plus like your coworkers. I think I find at least that I work with like very smart people who are competent at their job. So like for the most part, you can rely on other people to do their work, which Like I know it varies. Obviously, every company has like high performers and low performers, but I feel like at Google, the bar is relatively high. And then I also like the flexibility. There's a ton of Google offices around the world, probably more than like most of the other big tech companies. So that gives you more flexibility in terms of like internal transfers if you want to like move cities, for example. And also just the number of teams and products that Google has, I think is like, if you get tired working on one team, you can like transfer to something completely different. And then like on top of that, I think the pay and benefits, it's pretty hard to find like comparable environments where the work-life balance is also like pretty decent for that level of like pay and benefits. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think for new graduates, I think Google is probably, I can't say it's the best place to start, but it's one of the top places you can start your career, because you will learn lots of best practices of engineering on lots of different directions. And April mentioned internal transfer. So in Google, there we have the policy to allow the engineers to do internal transfer. So if you feel bored with projects you are working on, you can apply, to transfer to another team, and the policy will guarantee you have the manager will let you go. I mean, as long as you meet some minimum requirements. So this is also another the thing I like also.
Yeah. I did actually transfer teams like earlier this year, and I felt like the process was actually pretty easy, which is nice if you feel like you need to transfer.
Yeah, not lots of other companies had this kinds of policies, and to also not so many companies has that many different directions compared with Google. So in Google, there are lots of different things you can work on. So that's a good thing for Googlers. I think I have asked all my questions. So yeah, we still have 12 minutes. So students, ask your questions. Let me check the chat. Yeah, go ahead, Ethan.
Hi. Yeah. Great presentation. It's great to hear that you're an MIT alumni. I have a couple of questions to ask, but I guess I'll just empty out what the most urgent ones are. So about your CyberPatriot experience, I know that you did like a lot of lectures, a lot of hands-on practices. First of all, for my team, I'm not sure how informed you're gonna be on this because your team is from your school, but say my school isn't very they're not very relevant on cybersecurity. How would I network to find a good team? Because CyberPatriot, it's a team-based game. You need good players as well as you.
Yeah, I think at least like, so I assume you're saying at your school, CyberPatriot's like not very popular, like not a lot of people do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that I would probably advise that you try to find like people who you think are like competent, I guess, and if you see if they're interested. Or you can try to maybe like broadcast it to the school in general, like do an information session, tell them why joining CyberPatriot is beneficial. And then I think like even if someone starts not knowing very much, you can develop the knowledge over the course of like the school year. And I feel like if someone is motivated enough, then they'll be able to pick it up pretty quickly. So yeah, I guess that's like my advice.
Yeah. Also, you mentioned your team had audition, right?
Yeah, I think because my my coach was very, I think, intense, and he was able to produce results. People became interested because they wanted to, like, I guess, be able to compete at a high level as well. So we had a lot of interest, but I think in your case, if there's not as much interest, then maybe like what you need to do first is try to convince people why it's like a good activity to do.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me.
My
I would like to have a follow-up question to Ethan's question. So he's saying basically that you have to have a team from your own school. Does it have to be from the school? Like you have to have a team from the school, or you can actually form a team outside the school and compete?
I think it has to be the same school. At least that's what I've seen from all the other like teams.
Oh, so if
Yeah.
you okay, so it's
So-
team, it's school
I can
based basically.
clarify this question. So I think the policy according to our communication with Air Force. So if your high school has a team, then you have to join that team. If your high school doesn't have a team, and then you can work with other students outside school. That's what we
Yeah, I guess I would just clarify with the like competition administrators, since I guess I wasn't aware of that. So.
Oh, so basically we have to find out from the school whether we have a team there. If not, then we can actually form a team outside the school to compete.
correct.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Okay, so my second question is, besides doing these competitions, how else did you demonstrate your passion? Or like another rewording of this question is, did you have any passion projects outside of CyberPatriot?
I think like in terms of cybersecurity, I feel like the things I did in CyberPatriot were I invested a lot of time in it. So I think I maybe like didn't do other things outside of that. But like, for example, for general, just like CS and coding, I did things like HackerRank. I took like AP Comp Sci and did projects through that. I think, yeah, in terms of if you're asking more specifically, like kind of CS adjacent interests and activities that I did, I think those were like the main things.
So you would say that the competition was your like standout point in your profile?
I think for me, maybe what made me stand out was that I did a lot of things, and I like was able to demonstrate. One was like extended time doing them, and then two was like leadership and having certain like competition results. I think if I was only focused on CyberPatriot and like computer science, maybe it wouldn't have been enough. But I did other extracurriculars like I was on like a varsity sports team, and I did like piano outside of school, and I did some other clubs as well.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. One last question for now, because I want to hog up all the space. So a question for the NextGen Cyber Club. How would I apply, and are there any prerequisites to join the club?
Okay, so who can answer this question from NGCC?
Yeah, I can answer this. So you can check our website, and there's a form. It's nextgencyberclub.org, and there's an application to become the member of our club. You can apply there. Or if you're interested in the competition, and you can send us an email. Actually, we're hosting the Cyber Camp next 2 weeks for people in our area who are interested in cyber security, CyberPatriot competition, and want to get started. So we're hosting a basic camp next week and the advanced camp the week after. So that's another way just to get familiar or get some knowledge about the basic CyberPatriot competition.
And could you give me an estimate of how much people are in the club?
You mean like the actual members or our board? Because we have different activities and we have different like people joining different activities.
Yeah, I'm talking solely about the students. I actually looked at your website a few hours ago, and it said that there were 4 members. I'm not sure if those are the presidents or the founders, co-founders.
Yeah, they're founders. And we have
Okay.
currently, I think, like for our the cyber camps, we have like a 20 plus, and for other like for our like regular those the workshops, and we're also working with some after schools. So like probably like 20 to 50 members total. Like we have a like engaging in different activities.
And just to be clear, those are all high school students?
And some middle school students as well, and also middle and high school students.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, there are some questions in the chat. So one question, we formed an augur team. This is from James. Okay, we formed an augur team to compete in CyberPatriot, and we want to encourage more girls to participate. So what's your advice to high school girls who is interested in STEM or CS?
Yeah, first of all, I think it's really awesome that you guys have an all-girl team. I think even though I think like there's definitely more and more girls going into STEM, it's in the industry at least, it's still like a minority. So my advice would be like if STEM or CS is something you're genuinely interested in, just like stick it out, I guess. I think there is sometimes this like feeling that you have to prove yourself a little more, maybe that you're like, you know, people might assume that you're not like a real coder or whatever if you don't do like the kinds of activities that maybe a lot of male engineers do. But I think if it's something you're interested in, just like keep doing it. And yeah, also in college, I think like you'll find that there's a lot of other girls who do CS as well. And I think it's good to have more diversity in the field. And also, if you're looking for something that's more like a women in STEM community, there's a lot of national, I'm sure there's like local organizations as well in the Bay Area, but there's a lot of national level like women in STEM. There's like Society of Women Engineers and like women in EECS, these kinds of like organizations that create that sort of like community. So if you're looking to learn from the experiences of other like female engineers, that's like a way to be more involved as well.
Okay, there's one more question. So from David, this question seems so okay. So if your internship was less so about software development, then was the cybersecurity aspect more so high level, using tools, management system, like in CyberPatriot? I have been looking to get more into low-level aspects, such as implementation of the concepts in actual programs and all the operating systems.
Yeah, so to clarify, the internship I was talking about was like specifically at Northrop Grumman. It was less like software oriented, but there were still some ways, I guess, to like incorporate more low-level stuff into that. So one of the summers I worked on like a bash hardening script, basically trying to programmatically like secure like a Linux system. So that's like a way you can do more kind of like low-level programming. And I don't have a lot of experience like coding, like creating operating systems or working on like operating system features. But if that's something you're interested in, like I don't think you would necessarily learn those skills in CyberPatriot, but they're definitely relevant. And those are things that you can explore on your own and experiment with.
Okay, so I think yeah, we almost, yeah, it's 3 p.m. Yeah, we can if we have more questions, let's have 10 more minutes. So any of you have questions? So I have a question. So okay, so you have so many internships, you know, for high school and for, you know, during your college. So which one? You had the internship with Google, Salesforce. What else? Which one is most impressive, or you find more helpful for your growth?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably a biased answer, but I think my Google internship was probably the one I had the best experience at. Just because, like, as you mentioned before, I think at Google they really care about the like good engineering practices. So that was like the first time I wrote like a design doc, thinking like detailing the implementation. And then also, even though my internship was during COVID, so I actually had to work on something that was open source. But I think even then, like the benefit was that it was something I could like publish my code online to the public. So yeah, I think like getting to work on a technology that anyone could use, I think was also something that I liked. And I think the level of like expectation in terms of code quality, I think that helped me learn a lot. And I also think Google, compared to some other companies, the culture is more fun, I would say. Like I think even during a virtual internship, they really encouraged us to like try and do activities with other interns like virtually. And then if you ever do, I don't know if any of you have been to like a Google office, but they're usually like a little quirky and you know they have nice like amenities. So yeah, although Salesforce was also comparable. Like before I interned there, I actually didn't know what Salesforce was, and I didn't realize like how big they were in SF. But I think the product itself is harder to understand if you're just like a regular person. So I think that aspect I like preferred Google more.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have a question. Is it okay that we ask now?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Would you mind telling us what level did you achieve when you took the Olympia Computer Science?
Yeah, I got to the gold division, but I think that was before they like reoriented the divisions, I think a little bit after.
Oh, so at that time is the gold the highest level?
No, they had a platinum as well.
Oh, okay. So between this Olympia Computer Science and this CyberPatriot, which one do you think makes you more stand out?
I think it depends on like how high you get. I think if you qualify for like the national finals for CyberPatriot, that's definitely pretty impressive. But then if you're like able to get to a pretty high division in USACO, I think it's hard to say. I think like if you're really good at USACO, like let's say you can make it to the international team, then that's obviously like a lot more impressive. But that's kind of like making, yeah.
I would say
Okay.
lots of students participate in USACO, but for CyberPatriot, it's you know, not so many students compared with USACO.
Okay. What's the
Yeah,
commitment?
so yeah, if you're able to get to like
Mhm.
a very high position in USACO, that's probably gonna look better.
Is it like harder than, you know, cybersecurity in terms of like the difficultyness or the commitment time? Like what's, if you can
I feel like it depends on the person, honestly. I think especially since you guys have a pretty small like CyberPatriot team, if you're able to perform really well, that actually is very impressive. And I think it does take a lot of practice to get there. But I guess like yeah, USACO is maybe because it's like an Olympiad, I think it has a certain reputation that might like make you stand out.
So what's the commitment time? Like, how do you, like, for example, I mean, use yourself as an example. How much time did you devote to, Olympia computer science versus cyber security?
Yeah, for CyberPatriot, since we had a pretty like kind of structured system, I honestly think I spent more time on that just because we had like 4 hours every week. Plus, if you were preparing like a presentation, that took extra time, and then the competitions took like a lot of time as well. I can't say like a certain number of hours because I don't really remember, but I
So,
think if you want to get to a high level in either of them, you'll definitely have to spend like with USACO at the very least, since the competitions are a little more spread out and there's no sort of like weekly engagement, you can kind of study as much or as little as you want. And I think it depends on how effective you are at studying. So
Okay.
yeah, I think it varies. I'm not sure if that like answers your question.
I think it depends on the student's interest and also their capability. So
Mhm.
Yeah,
what-
I will say if you're interested in like computer science more than cybersecurity, then like USACOs will practice your like algorithmic thinking much more.
Okay, got it. And that actually is more difficult than the cybersecurity, right? No, I mean CyberPatriot.
I think it's more difficult in terms of like maybe applying knowledge, like learning the
Mhm.
knowledge. But I think CyberPatriot's difficult in other ways, like learning kind of team delegation and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of I would say for USACO, it is you focus on the algorithm, data structure, and you have to be really good at all those algorithms and practices. For CyberPatriot, it's like it's very broad. It's like covers lots of different small knowledge, and also you need to practice as well. So I would say the USACO is like more deep in the algorithm, but CyberPatriot is like more broad, and there are lots of different things you need to work on. Okay, so one
Got it,
question
thanks.
in the chat: does NextGen has a coach, or this is purely a student-led club? I mean, the founder 4 students from our East Bay area, and I'm the technical mentor. So my name is An Liu. So I am software engineer at Google. I have been working on security for past decades. So I can say I'm an expert on each direction of security, but I'm pretty confident saying I'm quite knowledgeable about cybersecurity. So we have a coach, but for each team you need to have a coach, and the coach is for coordinating the logistics, the team registration, and also organize the competition. So and one coach cannot handle too many teams. So, but we do have a coach, and I am the technical mentor. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. So if there's no other questions, I think let's conclude this talk today, and really thank April Xie to spend her precious personal time to share her past experience about CyberPatriot, and also her life at MIT, and also his engineering experience at Google. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And if you guys have any questions for me after this, like you can connect with me on LinkedIn if you want.
All right. Thank you. So that's it for today. Thank you.